What's news? This isn't. So we've covered how the USC have reacted to the Magna Carta. Now let's go into the common critiques that people have against the document. The ones we're taking up today are those listed specifically in the USC statement, but there are many other critiques of it linked below, including that of the League of Filipino Students. It's called The Paper Tiger, which sounds more like the title of a morning kids TV show than a scathing review of a legal document. Article 5, Section 4 of the Magna Carta states, "The Board of Regents shall act on a proposal to adjust school fees only after sufficient and proper consultation with the students prior to the academic year when the increase or creation of school fees is to take effect." Critics say that having this in the Magna Carta grants more legitimacy to the unjust tuition hikes of the university, as if tuition hikes were Jon Snow and the Magna Carta was Stannis Baratheon. The problem with that is that tuition hikes are already legitimate. That's why they happen. Despite what we'd like to imagine, the Board of Regents isn't actually made up of mustache-twirling villains trying to keep us down. They have laws and rules that they follow as well. It's called, the law. According to the UP Charter of 2008 or Republic Act 9500, UP's Board of Regents has the power to fix the tuition fees after due and comprehensive consultation with students. What the UP Charter doesn't say, however, is what due and comprehensive consultation actually means. You know what does talk about that in detail? The Students' Magna Carta. As things stand now, the Board of Regents could just randomly go up to a student and be like, "You there! Do you think it's okay if we tuition hike?" Huh? He didn't say no! Up the tuition! Now, let's get this out of the way. Yes, every capable and deserving student should be able to study in the University of the Philippines regardless of social standing. But the Magna Carta can't just flat out reject the university's power to have tuition hikes, because that's a power they have been lawfully granted by the government. You can't have a legally binding document that goes against the law. It kind of kills your credibility. Imagine if I tried to make a legally binding document to protect my rights as a snarky, annoying internet content creator, but halfway through, I said that I have the right to hit people in the face when I want, and they can't do anything about it. People might have some problems with that, and I'm thinking it won't be turned into something that's legally binding. Most of that same article that critics deride actually grants students more power by forcing the administration to be more transparent when they plan to implement a tuition hike. The only change I'd make is to have the Magna Carta decree that the Board of Regents rename themselves the Tuition Hiking Society. No, I am not apologizing for that joke. Hashtag Salamat Apo. That is the only proper context in which that hashtag works. Article 6, Section 3. Student organizations shall enjoy autonomy in accordance with the reasonable parameters set by the university. This supposedly relinquishes control of what can be recognized or enacted by an org to the university. But, as with the previous problem, this is already true with or without the Magna Carta. The university details in the Student Guide of 2010 the parameters of an organization and the process to apply to be an organization. And let me tell you, the application has more red tape than Black Widow's ledger. I'm surprised anyone wants to form an org with an application process like that. Student organizations have to reapply for recognition as an org every year, a process that involves submitting a veritable buttload of documents to the Office of Student Affairs. You need several forms from the OSA, ID pictures of all the members, a history of activities from the previous year including posters and descriptions, a cow as white as milk, a cape as red as blood, the hair as yellow as corn, the slipper as pure as gold, a spoonful of sugar, bubble, bubble, toil and trouble, fire, burn and cauldron, pupple, and a pen. Now, maybe some of those things aren't actually requirements by the OSA, but with the current power that the OSA holds over organizations, any requirement could literally be had. Maybe one year the OSA might just require the blood of virgins too, because registering with the OSA right now is pretty much like dealing with Satan, so might as well stop pretending that we aren't. There's almost as many requirements to just be recognized as an org as there are to get into the fucking university. The only thing missing is having to take the UPCAT all over again. And yes, this is a legitimate problem. Miles of red tape and a stringent definition of what makes an org means that some students can't exercise their right to organize. And everyone should be able to tick off them buy-in hours and chase people for signatures if they want to. But none of this is the Magna Carta's fault. Blaming the Magna Carta for the ridiculous org application process is like blaming Harry Potter to live to see the last scene of the Deathly Hallows. It's not his fault. Take it up with J.K. Rowling. Finally, one of the most controversial parts of the Magna Carta. Article 10, Section 5. The Board of Regents shall be the final interpreter of the Magna Carta. Now, that sounds fairly damning. After all, the Magna Carta is meant to protect our rights as students against all members of the UP community, including the administration. Putting the power back in their hands feels a bit like introducing Taylor Swift to a hot celebrity and expecting them to stay together forever. Hashtag Hiddleswift for life. However, facts are facts. The UP Board of Regents remains the highest policy-making body in the university, and Taylor Swift breaks up with everyone. Our rights have to be enforced. If the administration didn't have the power to enforce the document, more often than not, this would happen. Hey you're violating my rights according to the Magna Carta! Oh yeah? Yeah! Cool. Well, what do you have to say for it? Who's gonna make me say anything about it? Fuck! People have to be held accountable, and that's part of the whole reason the Magna Carta project began in the first place. As former head of Students' Legal Aid and Assistance Committee Kayla Garcia put it, we do not want another instrument that will be seen as mere rhetoric or scrap of paper. The Magna Carta needs to be enforced. The rights codified in it may be self-executing, but people need to be aware that there are consequences to violating these rights. As such, there are rules that must be followed. Let's put it this way. The Magna Carta may not be Starry Starry Night, but it is the paint-by-numbers version of Starry Starry Night. Not as pretty as we'd like, but not as meaningless as some would assume. The Magna Carta isn't perfect, but it isn't empty rhetoric either. It's actually the opposite. It's trying to input a system where we can defend ourselves against injustices that happen every single day in the university. The fight for students' rights continues with or without it. But don't think for 1 second that this paper tiger doesn't have any bite.